Every day around the world, millions of people bite into the deliciousness of deciduous fruit. Fruit on trees symbolize life, health, and prosperity. But did you know that to produce high-quality fruit, you need science, research, and innovation? Especially when fruit is produced in the southern hemisphere and then exported to the rest of the globe.
The deciduous fruit industry plays a key role in the South African agricultural economy. Although the local market is very important, deciduous fruit production and its value chain is export-orientated.
The industry generates over 12 billion rand turnover per annum and covers 54,000 hectares of palm and stone fruit orchards. On average, 45% of total production is exported. 20% enters the domestic market, 35% is processed, that includes canned, dried fruit and juice. South Africa is the second largest exporter from the Southern Hemisphere. Among all the world's export countries, it is ranked 6th in volume. Over the last decade, exports have significantly increased with 216,000 tons, that's a 42% increase. South Africa is the biggest supplier of apples to African countries, of which Nigeria is the single biggest importing country. Other growth markets outside of the traditional European markets are the Middle East and Far East. The deciduous fruit industry is a substantial job creator, which in many instances is the foundation upon which many rural towns and economies are built. The industry offers 60,000 permanent on-farm job opportunities that provides for an additional 250,000 dependents. These exclude further up and downstream jobs that are created. Fruit is produced according to international best practice and very stringent food safety standards and protocols. These best practices take into consideration the impact on the environment as well as the ethical treatment of employees and labor law compliance. Producers are audited by certification bodies against industry and private standards to ensure compliance and to enable growers to supply any market of choice.
Climate change and extreme weather events have got the potential to severely disrupt and decrease the profitability of fruit production in South Africa. Impacts are felt on the value chain through reduced production and quality, as well as direct damage to transport, energy and water infrastructure, buildings and ports.
That is why Hortgrow invests heavily in research and the development of new technologies to ensure stability and growth in the industry and increase profits for growers. Plant improvement, cultivar development and evaluation, rootstocks, the use of netting, irrigation and integrated pest management are key research priorities.
Although the industry is an export-driven one, the local market is extremely important to producers. Fruit supplied to the local market is produced according to the same stringent food safety protocols that apply to the international one. The local market holds great potential for growth when supplied with good eating quality fruit. The three main local markets are the municipal markets, direct sales to retailers, or the informal or hawker market.
Each fruit type and its market is unique, and there is no one-size-fits-all. We export 75% of our plum production, but only 45% of our total apple production. When we include the local market, Africa is by far the biggest market for apples, followed by the Far East. For stone fruit and pears, Europe remains our biggest export destination. The long integrated supply chain demands meticulous control of the cold chain to ensure produce reaches the customer in tip-top condition. Shipping to most markets are in the order of 18 days, and in some instances, apples will only be consumed months after it has been harvested. This can only be achieved through optimal handling of the fruit and using cutting-edge cold storage and controlled atmosphere technologies. The overwhelming bulk of deciduous fruit is transported to foreign markets via sea freight that is much more environmentally friendly than air or road transport. All shipping is done in refrigerated containers. Once produce reaches the foreign destinations, it is imperative that cold chain management is maintained to ensure that foreign customers enjoy the best possible eating experience. Importers receive produce packed according to their instructions at source in South Africa. All produce is repacked into different packaging units like punnets, bags, trays, flow wraps, and many more. This is mainly destined for the formal or retail market, typical of Europe. Many of the African, Middle and Far Eastern markets prefer so-called loose fruit that are sold by small-scale vendors in single-unit format. The whole supply chain starts and ends with the consumer. Therefore, growers aim to supply consumers with high-quality, great-tasting fresh fruit. Without a happy, satisfied consumer who returns to buy your produce again and again, not one step of the supply chain would exist. It is all about quality, continuity, and consistency of supply.